Hello and welcome to the first Champ.ie podcast, and we'll be previewing the Cheltenham Day 1. And I've two guests on the line. Colm Finlay from Banbury Bookmakers, formerly of Banbury Bookmakers. Well, Colm, now Betxs.ie. And I have another Meadman, a county Meadman from Batterstown, Mr. Thomas Coyle. He's a point-to-point and racecourse winning trainer, and a former assistant as well to Eddie Colley. How are you, Thomas?
How are you, lads?
Not too bad. We'll also have Mike Vince as well. He's a commentator from SIS. The voice will be familiar to you, journalist as well. So we'll rattle through the races. I caught up with Mike earlier on, so we'll have a few sound bites from Mike as well. And I hope you enjoy the first Champ podcast. And we're going to start with the Supreme Novice. And Al Dancer, I suppose, comes in here 7-2 column. I'll come to you first. He's read a 151. My tenter yours was he won the Betfair off 151. Is he a worthy favourite in your eyes?
I suppose you couldn't complain too much what this horse has done on the track. My primary worry about Al Dancer is his last race there at Ascot in what was, I think it was the Betfair handicap hurdle there. If you look at the price of the place horses there, Magic Dancer 20-1, Blue Cavalier 100-1. Yeah. I just don't think that kind of form is going to stack up here to win a Supreme Novices. Like, I know he was conceding weight to these horses in a handicap, but still, I think you need to be blown that kind of competition out of the water realistically here to be winning a Supreme Novices.
Also, they're bullish on him, Colm. I mean, Kristen Davis. I think young Willie in the bar. Young Willie was getting excited there afterwards. I think he was.
I appreciate the fact that the yard would definitely be excited about him, because he's gone out last year, has won his race this year. The optics from their perspective is this is a horse who's pretty much that's done everything that's asked from him. But as you go through a Supreme Novices, usually there's a lot of horses that would match that kind of criteria. Lots of ones in the form. Yeah. What we got to do as a form book is find out, are these ones better than these other horses' ones? And my inclination is at around the 5-2 mark at the moment. He's probably a bit skinny. I'd even go so far as saying is that I think the owner's other horse, Nicky Henderson's horse, Angel's Brett, might actually go a shorter price than Al Dancer. That's a tip for you. I'm not too sure what.
I think Davy Russell said
a lot shorter than Al Dancer.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. I think he's 4-1 already. Probably improved for that run. Southfield Stone. You like a horse as well, that had form tied in with Southfield Stone. Elixir the Nuts.
7-1 at the moment. He was 10-1 there a week or so ago. It is at the point in time now where a lot of horses are starting to really shrink up in their price. Like this 4 or 5 day count into Cheltenham is when you really see a lot of the value disappear out of these horses. Like you probably want to pull your anti-post trigger there maybe 5 or 6 days ago. But look, still at 7-1. Look, if you ask me, put a gun to my head, I think that probably represents the best value, because there's a slight question marks about the others. He'll lead from the front, and I think just he'll keep on battling on and stick a neck out going up the hill.
Yeah, it's not a bad theory. He'll race prominent. He's rated 151 now as well. 153. Elixir the Nuts is rated. So I suppose he has run. He'll be spot on for the day. I think Daryl Jacob was sweet enough on him as well in a preview that Kieran Champ.ie covered. I think he was sweet enough on him as well, and that he'd improve as well. So sets a good standard. But Thomas, I'll come to you on the Irish Challenge.
Probably the best, and I know you're not a big fan. Probably the best of the Irish is Aramon. From his run, he won at Leopardstown at Christmas. Probably didn't beat much. Was probably a better race the last day in Leopardstown of February, when he just got touched off by Classical Dream. I don't know, does Classical Dream go for this one, or does he go for the further race?
I think they were saying the Ballymore with the ground coming up a small bit softer now. Yeah. He has shortened in the betting slightly for the Supreme.
Yeah. Aramon was probably unlucky. Yeah. Aramon was probably unlucky not to beat him. Classical Dream had the benefit of the rail that day. Still, it's a bit disappointing when nearly the first day, when the Irish haven't nearly got their banker in that from a good bumper horse the year before. But to me, there's nothing really standing out. There's one outsider dancing on my own, but he is in the Coyle Cup as well. but he was
Right.
fourth that day in that race, and he was only having his fourth run. So he looks a big, raw type of horse.
Point to pointer, Thomas.
No. He wasn't a pointer. No. He's had 3 runs over hurdles. So this is fourth or fifth run.
My bad. I thought he was.
No. He's a big staying type. He looks, but he is in the Coyle Cup as well. So, but he'd be an outside player for me. He wasn't too far behind Aramon and Classical Dream that day. And for a horse that hasn't had as much running as them 2 horses, he might be staying on best coming up that hill. Yeah,
certainly need to stay on the ground. I think at the minute it's sort of predicted it to come up on the slower side, on the slower side of good. Tuesday. So we're recording this now on Friday. Nice before Cheltenham. But it's an interesting point. You said he is in the Coyle Cup. I think he's rated 143.
3 or 5, yeah.
It looks like that race does look the best of the Irish form. Aramon, as you said, it did look like he was going to go and win on that day. There's actually a horse in that race I like myself, Vision Donaire. He's a County Meath horse, Gordon Elliott. You might be able to tell me a little bit about him. I know he was in the county hurdle as well, and I think
he was actually third that day Classical Dream.
That's right.
And Dancing on My Own. So like that form is all very close together. So literally that race in Leopardstown is probably worth having a look back at for people that want to see the best form of the Irish. That's probably the race they're going to have to look at and study.
It is. I think Aramon. I think the big Irish hope at the start of the year. Well, I know Mullins were keen on Quick Grabham, and of course he got injured as well.
Yeah,
early in the season. So it is probably the best of the Irish. Dancing on My Own, a good each way shout for that. Yeah.
And I might just say one thing quickly on the 2 Irish horses, especially the ones out of William Mullins' yard, is the fact that don't underestimate the silk colours in terms of what price these horses are today. Like if you gave or overlaid Rich Richie's colours over Aramon or over Classical Dream, it will probably race elsewhere. I guarantee you these horses will be 3 to 4 points shorter.
Yeah, that's true.
If they're not in Rich Richie's colours, people go, well, there's something wrong with this William Mullins Challenger. There could be a bit of value in Aramon on the basis that he just is he's not the supreme Novices fashionable silk colours you would typically see at the Williams race of recent years, and that's just something to factor in for punters there as well.
Yeah, well, lads. Anyway, we'll move on to the article. Well, first of all, the selections. Colm, come to you. What's your final selection for the Supreme?
Chili Nuts will be a tough nut to crack in Supreme Novices. I'm going to stick with him. Like a lot of people say, he's like, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago he was a bigger.
Bit like you need your nuts.
10-1. He was 10-1 when I initially.
Bit like there you go. You need your nuts snipped. Simple as that. Gelded operation for you now.
I hope Elixir does as good as nuts.
Hope that woman in Kilcott now is not beside you.
But I know. I think a 13-2 is a horse I'd be still willing to green light for a bet.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And yeah, are you going with Dancing on My Own each way, Thomas?
Just each way, yeah, for the value. I see he has come in a bit, but look, it'll depend. It'll be 50-50 whether he runs in that or the Coyle Cup, I imagine. But if he is in it, he'd be my each way selection, yeah.
Brilliant. We'll move on to the article swiftly along. They're saying it's I suppose a weaker renewal this year. My nap of the entire meeting is in the race, Glen Forza. 3-runner race at Sandown last time. It's a tough track to jump around, generally speaking. And I don't know what you. I'll come to you, Colm, first. You like Glen Forza as well?
Yeah, look, this Arkle Challenge Trophy, I'm looking for jumping. Like that's the first and foremost trait I want to see here in my
horse
here. And we all know Sandown is the ultimate test of jumping. They come so fast there. You jump them, the horse has to be hitting everyone in the correct stride. It has to sort his feet out in between strides. This Glen Forza, he put on an absolute exhibition that long time out there at Sandown. And if a horse is going to jump well in the Arkle, I think you'd be surprised by how weighted that specific skill set has to be when you're winning this race. Like I'd almost apply 80% jumping and 20% everything else. And I think this Glen Forza, he jumps supremely well. And obviously,
best jumper in the field, I think. Anyway, from what I've seen, I think Lawler done well on his debut at Cheltenham.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But like Mick Shannon's got experience now. With, obviously, he's primarily a flat trainer these days, but he has trained Summersby for the same silk colour before. Obviously, another very good 2 mile horse.
Plus, he has Henrietta Knight there helping him as well for his jumper. So
I was going to say, I said that definitely, Thomas. Yeah. Would you say he's done much schooling down in Henry's? Or?
Oh yeah, I think most of them go to Henrietta's for a certain amount of time. The jumpers.
Yeah.
And when she's happy enough, they go back. I think I'm pretty sure I've heard that.
Yeah.
She's a big feather to have in his cap on his side. You know.
Do you like Glen Forza?
I don't. No.
You don't know, right? Why?
No. Well, now I know he's got bumped up, but he wasn't as good as these over hurdles either. I do agree with you that jumping is major, but I just I can't have him. Sorry, no.
Right? Who?
No. Well, Lawler was disappointing the last day as well, wasn't he? Like he did look good the time he did win in Cheltenham, wasn't it?
Yeah, Cheltenham first time up.
Yeah, looked good. Small trainer, small yards. I'm more looking for the Irish angle again.
Yeah, fair enough. That's what we want you for, Thomas. That's why you're on. County Meath angle, I think.
Oh yeah, I think so. Hardline, same rating as Lawler. Just the last day he missed one just going past the stands, and it kind of put him on the back foot, heavily on the back foot, and he actually done well to get back into the race. He was third to Labagaroy, who has been lapping it up in England. She's beaten Lost in Translation, horses like that. She's been very good. If he can, and I do agree with you, jumping is a major thing. If he can get his jumping sorted early on, he won't be far away to me.
Of course, coming back down and trip as well. That was the one question, and I had a feeling you were going. All the Shrudies are on hardline this week. I mean, I think what is he now? 6-1. Colm, is he 6-1?
He's 11-2 now, so he is, and he has been getting short. You're right there, Barry. He's been a bit of smart money coming in for hardline this week. I think myself and Thomas are kind of opposite opinions. I think your jumping has to be spot on here, and even having a horse of question marks about his jumping in the article is something that I couldn't really put much faith in. But look, Thomas wants to balls that one out very good. Yeah, but it won't be my cup of tea. Give me the jumper all day long.
Yeah. Thomas, we might have to send him down to yours for a bit of schooling.
No, they've plenty of schooling strips and Gordons. If he can't jump coming out of there, he's in trouble. So yes.
Fair enough.
There's just one other horse in that, and from a small trainer in Ireland that you wouldn't hear too much about, but is a very good trainer from County Cork, Terence O'Brien. It's a horse called Articulum.
But Mullins ride him, does he?
I think so. Yeah, I think Paul Townend. Oh no, David could have rode him the last time, but he's rated a lot less than them. But he's running 2 chases, and he beat Campeador in your famous 3-horse races. But he did beat Campeador very.
Yeah, is that a dig? Is it?
Very. No. He did beat Campeador very well, who is a 147 rated hurdler. He bet him very well in Naas and jumped like an absolute stag. His other run, he was second to Getaboard in a beginners around Punchestown. So that's not the worst form. And I'd say he is rated a lot inferior to them over hurdles, but I'd say he could be like a stone or maybe plus better over fences. So just keep an eye on. He's a very shrewd trainer. He wouldn't have too many horses. He's not a household name that you know, but Terence knows the time of day. And I did think he came from 33s into 14s during the week as well. So maybe Colm.
I'm just trying to see what price he is now. He's 20-1. I'm looking at what Betxs.ie. All right, Colm.
Yeah, spot on.
Yeah, Glen Forza for me. I did say he was Napa. He's my Napa of the entire meeting. I think.
Barry, did you hear Mick Shannon on At the Races earlier on tonight? Did you?
No.
Yeah, he gave a very good interview, and you know what the strange thing was? It's the first time where a trainer talked about his own physical well-being, and that made me feel better about the horse's chances. Mick was on ATR earlier on. He was saying, look, for the next 3 or 4 days, I'm going to be very unapproachable. So if you see me on the street walking around, do not come up and ask me anything about Cheltenham.
Kelly style, is it?
This Glen Forza has me excited for this Cheltenham festival. And when I get excited about my horses at Cheltenham, I'm a very unapproachable individual. And he was saying, like, I've been around for Ascot, I've been around for these other meetings. But just for the next 3 or 4 days, wait, lads, you're getting this interview tonight, but stay away from me because I'm full of anxiety about this race next week. And that's a marker for this Glen Forza and where he wants to see this horse or where he thinks this horse can go from.
Yeah, I'd say Arkle this year, King George next year.
Yeah.
That's a shout now. Might be getting a bit too big for me boots, but no, I like him. Will we move on to the big one, lads? Champion Hurdle.
Might as well.
Yeah, Apple's Jay and Thomas.
I have a feeling this is going to be Mead against Carlo here now, is it?
Mead versus Carlo. It'll be Mead versus Carlo and Navan first round. And if Carlo can do what they did to Kildare last year, you might be in trouble. Especially after that league game a couple of weeks ago between yourselves and Kildare.
Yeah. It's only March, lad. Relax.
Yeah, no. Well, Willie will have something to say about it here, I think. Apple's Jade. I'll come to you, Thomas.
Yeah, to me, she's done the most in the book this year. I can't see Bouvardere giving her £7. I can't see Lorena lining up with her, being honest. She's just been so visually impressive from the Hatton's Grace and Fairy House to the last day in Leopardstown. If she turns up and Everton is all right with her and they keep Everton control for the last week, I can see her coming home in front.
What are the vibes? Are you hearing she's in good form up?
Yeah, I just heard Jamie Codd saying the other day on at a preview that she's kicking and biting, and when she's like that,
yeah, I heard that
she's in good form. So if you're hearing that from Jamie, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, they're very sweet on her. She does look a new horse this year. She's had a lot of racing. I mean, she's 7 now, and she's been 4. Like, would that be?
I would say that they're well spread out. Like Hatton's Grace before Christmas, she's had one run after Christmas. Like Leopardstown, this new Leopardstown festival seems to be a great addition to our calendar anyway, and it seems to just be the perfect timeline for a run there and get fresh and prep back for Cheltenham. So she's my idea of the winner anyway.
And Colm.
Well, the first thing I'd say about Apple's Jade is I think she's literally just usurped Bouvardere for favouritism for this race over the last 24 hours or so. I think it's into about 15-8, and I think Bouvardere is about 2-1 or so. So a lot of what Thomas was saying there is probably holding through. The horse is obviously in good form, and they seem to be fairly bullish on her chances. Actually, her getting beat at the festival last year was a major kind of win for us now, because I think there was a couple of doubles or trebles running onto her that day, and she fell short at 1-2. There's question marks about that for me. Cheltenham. Look, my eyes are drawn elsewhere, if I was being honest with you. I think at this point in time, especially around 15-8, I think she's gone a bit skinny there.
Right.
Bouvardere, look, when he came out and slammed Sam Crow at the start of this year, when Sam Crow had race fitness on him, I thought this division's over. Forget about it. He's won this. Don't be thinking about anything else. Focus on different races. Yeah. But he did get beaten at Christmas Hurdle over Christmas there, so he showed he was fallible. That has left me confused about this horse. What I thought was a race I didn't have to think about this year, now I have to think about it, which I suppose from a puncher's perspective is a good thing.
Think about every race, Colm.
Well, there were some races that I just like. For instance, I don't think about Benny Dudu on the first day. That's a race I can just put away and forget about it. It doesn't need much force. Benny Dudu is going to win that. And I was kind of thinking this race was going something along those lines. But no, I'm going to Carlo, Barry. As a Mead man, can you invite me into Bagnallstown, into the Lord Bagnall down there, and let me celebrate this Champion Hurdle trophy he's brought back to the village there?
Here, actually, on the subject of the Lord Bagnall, you heard it here first. Cheltenham preview night next year. I'm committing to it now. We're hoping to maybe get into Lord Bagnall. It's going to do it for CFI, a charity close to the heart, Cystic Fibrosis Ireland.
Very good.
Thomas, you were the first guest on. If we're still around this time next year, we're going to invite you on.
Oh, there, yeah.
But anyway, back to the Champion Hurdle.
Yeah, sorry. I was just asking, can you give me permission to join Carlo and celebrate Lorena winning this year's Champion Hurdle, Barry, please?
I think she wins it anyway.
Well, you film me, because you are the Carlo man. You tell me. Film me.
Anyway, with confidence. Okay, right. Which will be the last horse off the bridle? I think it'll be Lorena. Obviously, Apple's Jade. Like Thomas has made. I mean, sure, she's the informed horse. She's a new horse this season. Mightn't be ideal that she might have been campaigned at 3 at the start. That'd be my worry. And she has had a lot of racing, but she's had a lot of racing, I think, in her career to be an ideal candidate for this. I like the horse. I like the fact that Lorena is unknown. She's raced absolutely nothing this year already. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Stormy Island would be capable of beating the likes of a Verdana Blue, who bet Bouverdare. I can't have Bouverdare. 2-week champion hurdles. It's between the two mares. £7 allowance. I think the two of them are going clear. But I can see Lorena, softer ground. Just coming to the last, which will be the last horse off the bridle? That's the question I always ask when it comes to champion hurdles. I think it's going to be Lorena. I think she's an absolute machine. I think there hasn't been, at all the media days, all the Cheltenham preview nights, there hasn't been, nobody can really sit with real confidence and say she's going to win it because she hasn't beaten anything. And that's fair enough. She's sitting at 4-1 now. To be honest, I'll take 4-1. I've taken bigger prices.
Was she?
I still have a man. He's trying to convince me Willie's still going to send her to the mares. Even he told me yesterday Willie's still going to send her to the mares.
Well, what do you reckon last year at Punch Time, Barry? Because look at she came up. She wasn't as visually as spectacular as.
No, she's a big Thomas. I'll bring you in here because you obviously know more about horse physics. She's an absolute monster as a mare, isn't she?
She is. She's a compliment to a filly. She looks like a gelding. Literally, when you see her at the races, you don't think that's where Apple's Jade is smaller, slimline. You know, she's big, robust. Like she wouldn't look out of her depth if someone called her. But just to back to Colm, like last year, you were saying the Apple's Jade got bet in the mare's hurdle, but like so many problems have come up, and the boys have really got into it this year, and they seem to have her schedule. You know, they seem to have it under control. So it's only one more week.
That's not a worry.
No, yeah, for me it's no worry, and she'll definitely be a different horse to what she was there last year.
Yeah, like I mean, you have to respect that.
Is there anyone that can come from the clouds in this race? Because I think
there's one horse I wanted to ask Thomas maybe about as well. Actually, he's another county meet horse, Esper Dallin. He's a horse I liked a lot as a juvenile. Disappointed at Leopardstown last year after
Yeah, he had one bad run. He won. Didn't he win the good 4-year-old in Fairyhouse before Christmas last year? And he looked like he was going to be the triumph hurdle for.
He did. Yeah, I liked it.
And then he really flopped against. Where did he flop?
He flopped at Leopardstown.
Yeah, Mr. Adjudicator, was it, or Mr. Wheely's horse?
I think. I think it was that. I don't know.
He flopped. And Farclay, he was out. Yeah, he was even money. He's won a few handy races this year. He won a Nace the last day.
Bet Stormy Island in Limerick at Christmas.
Yeah, that was better, and that was soft ground that day. So maybe, but he's a lot to find with the two mares in my book. Yeah.
Definitely, I think so. Colm, you probably have something. I know you like your wild prices, no matter what the race. Give me a mad one.
One horse that has talent that hasn't seemed to be bring to the track, and when Nicky Henderson speaks of him, he speaks about this horse as if he's kind of some kind of mischievous little rogue that he just can't get right, but he knows at home that he's full of talent. And he's been saying, please, horse, stop embarrassing me, because I tell everyone in the world that you're very good, but you just don't seem to be able to do it. And that is this brain power at 20-1 now. Look, I'm not too sure why the horse hasn't been actually able to bring it to the track yet. But Nicky's fairly sure that there's a very, very good horse within him. There's some part of me that wants to do some kind of a Yankee or a Lucky 15 this year that's composing of the perceived second strings of a lot of these big yards. And I'm kind of fairly certain that one or two of these perceived outsiders will win. if something was to go on, if Bouvre de Air was to run to his Christmas hurdle form, if Apple's Jade was just going to decide that this is Cheltenham 2018 all over again and run something similar to that race, and La Arena just was a big bundling bridal merchant that couldn't do anything else, and it was going to be outside of those top three, I'd fancy Brain Power to maybe finish the best of the lot. You could probably even get a market on that.
Colm, actually, if the ground does turn up, I know Nicky would have said that going into Blair's first champion hurdle, that's 2 years ago, that Brain Power was just as good, if not even better, and on better ground as well. But he did win last time out over on the course, I suppose, first time back over hurdles after a failed campaign over fences. Has had the breeding up. I like your theory on him. I would definitely be in the Brain Power each way camp. So yeah, no, I like that. What price is he with Betxs? 20 to 1, you said? Betxs.
Yes, 20 to 1 there at the moment. It would be a good match bet is Brain Power versus Espoir Dalen. Who do you think would win that match bet, Barry? Like, who do you fancy more, Espoir Dalen at 14 to 1 or Brain Power 20 to 1? Who would win that race?
Brain Power's a mad bastard, isn't he? He could do anything.
That's it. Can you get that? You also are known as a mad bastard. You're going to go to Cheltenham next week and you're going to go fairly wild. So maybe you've got a bit in power, a bit in common.
You might want to tell the listeners what happened to me the last time. And do you remember I came back in a horse box? We won't go into the details of it, but
all I know is you promised me that you're going to go to Cheltenham for maybe one day, and you're going to live the life of a priest or some kind of Puritan pioneer, and and you're supposed to be back on a Wednesday or Thursday. And by that Friday, you're in a horse box going across the Irish Sea.
I actually ended up ill. There was a lot of ball carry on going over there, and I ended up sick and I couldn't fly home. So I ended up getting a lift in a George Bullen horse box. And there was a Scottish driver of the horse box. I don't know his name, but he just didn't know what to make of me now. Me camped up in the back bunk. And I think
I'd say there's still a lot of people that don't know what to make. Yeah,
I'd say you're right, Thomas. Do you know who's in the back of it? Rule of the World, who won the Grand National. He was in the back of the back of the horse box.
You're in good company anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, champions. Champ, you know what I mean? Champ that the handicaps, however. Thomas, I know you like one or two on day one.
Yeah, the ultimate. But this horse is entered in maybe 3 or 4 races. It's all guesswork. Gordon Elliott's flying the flag again. Does he get in, Thomas? At the minute, he still needs about 15 to come out. So I don't know. He is also in. Is it the Kim Muir? And I think he's actually shorter than the Kim Muir. But to me, this would be the race for him if he got in. He's 10-2. He's only £2 higher than his Irish mark. Was third in the Pretence qualifier in Punchestown the last day. And looked to be doing all his best work at the end. That was his first run back since his run the Munster National, where he was going to be placed, but he fell at the last.
Yeah.
So if he gets into that, I'd like him, all right.
The other thing about that, I'd say why it's key to first day as well. I think this ground is going to deteriorate as the week goes on. I think Tuesday's hit and miss, Wednesday not so bad, but Thursday and Friday are absolute washouts. And I think all guesswork does like firm grounds. I could almost imagine if he doesn't get in the first day, you mightn't see him at all then for the rest of the week.
But Thomas, he's very short. He's very short on the exchange as well. When I say very short, he's 9 to 1 for the Kim Muir, and that's probably a better indication, you know.
Yeah, true enough. But I'd imagine the Kim Muir is off level weight. I'd imagine if he can get into this handicap, that's where he'd go.
Okay, interesting. Anything else on day one? On the rest of the handicaps, Colm, I think you were going to put up one for the handicaps.
Yeah, well, I kind of leave my handicap homework until the night before, until you get the final kind of pieces of the field. You can see, like, for instance, Thomas just put up a horse there. Yeah, I'd be very much interested in that horse, but a 45 needing 15 to come out, you'd be sick if you'd done a whole pile of homework fancying one horse and you see somebody sneaking in the bottom that completely changes the picture. But kind of preliminary, I was looking at Joseph O'Brien's in the Novice handicap chase in the first day to 450, Shady Operator at around 14 to 1. But I said, my handicap position really doesn't lock in on maybe until the night before, until we get the final declarations. That's when I'll launch a few missiles into these tricky handicaps.
No better man. There's two I like. Two of my big handicap hopes are actually on day one. Jerry's back. Lots of money for him in the Ultima. Obviously, Manella Rocco's in there as well for John Joe. John Joe O'Neill loves a Cheltenham winner. And he is off a high enough weight. I think of one. He's come down the weights big time since his Gold Cup third. Manella Rocco. He'd be one to watch out for as well. But I'd imagine he's in there to primarily he's top weight, like, to keep the weight.
That Gary's back could be well in. He was second to that Vindication, wasn't he? He's fancied for one of the bigger races, yeah.
Yeah, he's fancied for the RSA, and he didn't work well during the week. And I think Vindication is out of that now, but today reports are coming out that he did work well, and that he's going to be he might run in the JLT, so the shorter distance. The other horse I like on day one is Del Oro for the Moors. Thomas, what do you make of Gary Moore as a trainer? You're not going to say bad things anyway. But...
No. Very shrewd.
Yeah, no.
Knows the time of day. Definitely good man to have.
I thought
have on your side.
Yeah, no, I thought he was well treated, Del Oro, off his current mark. There's lots more to come from him. Again, he ran actually in a novice hurdle in Punchestown 2 years ago. Del Oro. He's by walk in the park. But he won a Huntington, and he's been minded ever since, basically. And he had a little spin out the last day in that that famous 3-runner race at Sandown behind Glenforza.
You're putting a lot of form into that 3-runner race.
I am. That's right. No, I think he's well treated off his mark, and I think more, as you said.
Yeah. No, very true.
And he will get in as well. He will get in. Anyway, listen, lads, we'll be back for day 2, and thanks for tuning in. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook, Champ.ie. Thank you. No, so we're joined by Mike Vince, SAS and Racecourse commentator on the line. Good evening, Mike. You've been around to a good few of the media days in both Britain and Ireland. You've also been at Leopardstown last weekend. What's your thoughts on the Presbytery Cup this year and the home challenge?
I actually think the British have got a better chance of seeing off the Irish than they have in past years, because you'd struggle to think of the Irish getting more than one at most of the big 4 races. You're looking then at the second division. How good are the novices? Yeah, there are 3 or 4 Irish good things, and then that turns your attention to the handicaps, and that's a complete lottery. So certainly I would think there's more hope in the British team than there has been in recent years. Yeah,
so Mike, coming on to day 1, and the tapes go back in the very first race on day 1, the Supreme Novices Hurdle. What's your idea of this year's winner?
Well, the Di Walter's own pair of Al Dancer and Angel's Breath are certainly the ones a lot of people are talking about. But I'll just mention 2 others. Elixir du Nuts has impressed me and has won round Cheltenham. That's for the Tizard team. He carries the Rooster Booster colours, and he's not without a chance. And you were blown away, or you should have been, by Fakir Doudari, now, of course, carrying the colours of JP, and gets into the race off bottom weight if that's where they go with it, rather than the Triumph, where, of course, we're all waiting to see what the news is of Sir Eric.
Absolutely, Mike. And this year's Arkle, the second race on the card on day 1, I suppose lots of chat this year that the Arkle is maybe slightly weaker, and I think it's quite refreshing to see 2 of the smaller stables maybe represented in Mick Shannon and Kelly Woolacott. Is the Arkle between those 2?
Logic suggests that the answer to that question is yes, but I'm just not totally convinced, to be honest. And I also got to say, I think this is a substandard Arkle, sadly, without Laricheburg, who for me was the standout. As to what else to mention, well, wouldn't it be brilliant for Terence O'Brien if Articulum could run a huge race, as I think he well might. But I'll put one more in the mix for you, and that is that Nockamus, if he were to jump a clear, has to be a major player. Sadly, he came down last time, but Knocknamus for the Moors is one I'd put up each way against the big 2.
That's great, Mike. And Bouverdaire comes in here, the main British contender for the 2019 Champion Hurdle. Who's your idea of this year's winner?
Bouverdaire has done nothing wrong. He won it last year without being right in any way, shape or form. if he reproduces his fighting fifth form at Newcastle, I think he'll win. Although Apples Jade is a really interesting runner. And of the outsiders, it will be great to see Espai Dallin for Gavin Cromwell run a big race. I think he might squeak a place.
Certainly a cracking champion hurdle, that's for sure. Yes, moving on to, I suppose, the rest of the races on day one, the handicaps, the Mayor's Hurdle, and the National Hunt Chase. Mike, I know you've been around to all the yards, and I know you caught up with Patrick Mullins at Leopardstown, and you're good friends with David Pipe. Is there anything else on day one that you're looking forward to? And fill us in.
I think for me, I would like to see if Vintage Clouds gets into the Ultima, the handicap chase, which is always a very good trial for the National and for what happens at Aintree. I'm not sure quite what the plans are for the Trevor Hemmings team, but what I would say is that if Vintage Clouds gets in, and he was third in the race last year, there are a lot worse each way bets around than that. Although also, got to say, give me a copper. There were some very positive vibes on the recent visit to Paul Nicholls' yard.
Absolutely. Always great insight from Mr. Mike Vince, and we look forward to meeting you at the Cheltenham Festival. We might catch up with you in the Arkle Bar maybe at the end of day one, Mike. And thanks very much for being on with us, and very best of luck for the week.